Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the CGC, the Conqueror Gun Carriage, also known as the Orbital Death Star, because the shells seem to come down virtually vertically on your target. It's the Tier 10 British SPG, and it's located on the south spawn of Prokhorovka, and it's under the command of Fade to Black from Phylox. And battle is underway. He's taking most of the rubble with him. Well, what can I say about the Conqueror Gun Carriage? Well, it's got an absolutely monster 9.2 inch howitzer. The BL 9.2 howitzer Mark II. Can do 1200 hit points of damage from one shot. And it looks like he's headed over the railway line. It was supposed to be built on the chassis of a Conqueror tank, the heavy tank, and you can see the engines at the front and the crew compartments at the back. And one of the good things about the Conqueror Gun Carriage is it can use vents because it's an enclosed compartment. Okay, right, we've got a target straight away. It's a batch at 25 ton. We're loaded and ready to shoot. It's 36.4 seconds on the reload. He's dialing in on that bat chat, fires a round in. Oh, he gets a very near miss of 507 hit points. That bat chat was so lucky it was a near miss, because if that had been a direct hit, I doubt that bat chat would have survived. Okay, we've got two targets together here. An IS-7s, that's the Tier 10 Soviet heavy tank. And up on the hill we've got an M48 Patton. Well, the Patton would be a much more satisfying target, really, because it's got weaker armour. It's a medium tank, but the IS-7s are closely grouped together, and that means every shot on the IS-7 is probably going to yield more damage because they're both together. So he's dialing in on that target. They're both moving as one. Okay, he's going to go for the target. He's going to try and drop the shell between them. Round out. Oh, well, apparently, according to this, he only got critical damage on the IS-7s, but he did stun them. So it looks as if the shell did go somewhere else, maybe into a different postcode. Or if you're an American, that would be zip code. Now they're still there together, and that's a very silly thing to do when you're at Tier 10. You shouldn't be doing that sort of thing. Any tanks that group together, they're inviting Arty to hit them and hit them hard. Found out straight away. This time he does a lot of damage. 448 hit points to one of the IS-7s, 202 to the other one. And our batch at 25 tons turned up and he's on top of the hill. So we're getting ready to hit him. Waiting for the reload to go through. 36.39 seconds. 15 seconds to go. That was our batch at 25 ton. And I think the reason he's crossing over is because he's worried that that bat chat is going to move up. Our guy on top of the hill, the T110E5, has moved to the back of the hill, or back slope. So Fade to Black has actually moved back into the bushes on the other side of the railway line. And is he going to go for the IS-7 again? Well, it would be a shame to not use that fact that the enemy are bunching together, and they are. Look at them there. Let's put a round in and really ruin their day. Well, he's trying to encompass that 2x2 at the same time. He fires the round in. Did he get a hit? Well, it appears he didn't. And that may have been down to the fact that the reticule was quite large when he fired. You really do need to aim this one precisely, because the CGC has got such a large reticule, as you can see there. It's very possible that the shell could land well outside the target area. And although it's got a very big footprint in that you can actually damage more than one tank at the same time if the shell lands precisely, the fact of the matter is the shell could miss the targets altogether. And instead of going for the IS-7s, he's decided to go for an Object 260 on the other side of the map. Now, that's the reward tank for the missions. Nope. Changed his mind. No, changed his mind again. It's going for the IS-7s again. No, this is not good. He's trying to pick the right target to go for, but his indecision is actually wasting time because he's got loads of ammunition to spare, but he's only got a limited amount of time in the game to actually fire that ammunition off. Round out on the 260. Direct hit, 574 hit points. Went right into the side of the 260. You can see, in fact, actually it looks like it may have hit the gun magnet. I'm looking at it from above and I can see a big yellow mark where that shell landed. It was a direct hit. It did penetrate the hull. It may have damaged his gun. That 260 may be moving backwards and forwards, but I think he might be incapable of firing at the moment. And there's an Object 140 retreating because he was spotting up in that corner and he got trapped. Okay, right, well, we've got that AMX M454 there. And in fact, there's an IS-7 with him. Oh, lovely. Right, 2 targets for the price of 1. He's dialing in the aim. They're both pulling back at the same time. Can he get both? Round out. And he gets a hit on the M454. I'm pretty sure he would have stunned the other one as well. Although we don't know how much damage he did. He's already up to 2.3k of damage. I'm pretty certain he got a good hit there on the IS-7 behind the M454. And the M454 is a very dangerous opponent. So getting that tank and doing some damage to him really helped. The 260 is still there. And we're only a few seconds away from shooting again. And he's acting in a predictable manner. But we've got a reticule bloom there. Sudden movement. He needs to be careful. Focus it on one point. Let the enemy drift into the point. Round out. Oh, he got a hit! He definitely got a hit. Looks like he may have been tracked as well. He's stationary. He's not moving. Oh, he is now. Now, maybe he repaired his tracks there. I can't see where that shell landed. It may have been on the side of the turret. The mods I use, which are Aslains mods, do actually include the ability to actually see the damage that actually hits the tanks, and you can actually see different colours for different types of shell. And Arty shells appear yellow from HE, and AP shells appear red around the entry point. So you can actually distinguish which shell was actually used to do the damage. Okay, so we've got the M454 and the IS-7. They're still together, and we're dialing in on them. Round out. Oh my god, look at that! He took out the M454 and he damaged all 3 of the tanks simultaneously. And the enemy are now 4 tanks down in this battle. They are desperately losing. And I think one of the reasons why they're losing is due to Fade to Black, because he is laying in on these enemy as much as he can. There was only a moment of indecision over which target to hit. But it looks now as if he's actually trying to get the enemy as much as he can. Okay, going for the E4 on top of the hill. He's retreating back down the hill. Now he's moving forward again. You see, this type of behaviour by the tank driver shows that he is accustomed to being artied, and he moves about in an unpredictable fashion to try and throw the arty shell off. But he couldn't throw off that splash, and he's been stunned and tracked. At least he didn't receive a head-on shot, because if he had received one, he would know about it. He would have been badly damaged. We're 10 seconds away from shooting. The enemy are only 4 tanks down now. It's 6-2. Going for this IS-7. He's right up against the edge of the map. We're waiting for him to pull back. So I do as well. You wait for the enemy to make a mistake. Fire the round in. Oh, it went long. RNG said no on that occasion. The shell went long. That was unfortunate. He did that perfectly. He waited for the tank to move into the pattern of the fall of shots, and it went perfectly, but the shell went long. Okay, we've got two of them together now, the IS-7 and the E4. If they stick together, they're using that wreck of the M454 as cover, which means that's where they're going to be focused. They're going to be focused around staying near that wreck for cover. He's going for the E4, and he gets a hit. 526 off the E4, 251 off the IS-7. IS-7's gone down. He was taken out by the Batchat 25 ton, who goes in for the kill, takes out the E4. We're now 10-3. The enemy is being completely eradicated. There's only 5 of them left. 2 heavies, 1 medium, 2 tank destroyers. The FV304 has been seen on, or the FV4005 has been seen near the railway crossing. That's a very weakly armoured tank destroyer. And we think he's in that area there. We're loaded, ready to shoot, but we need a sign of the enemy. We've only got 13 rounds left. Fade to Black's going to move closer to the enemy. An IS-7's just been spotted. But he's definitely going to go for the ship barn. Dialing in. Round out. Oh, it landed. It's a splash near him, in front of him. He managed to get 319 hit points from the splash, from the hit, and he's picked up the rest in stun assist because the FV4005 is no more. There's only 2 enemy remaining. The Batchat and their Death Star, the FV215B. And we just lost our Rheinmetall Panzerwagen. And the Death Star's been taken out by our Batchat 25. And that just leaves the Batchat 25 on the enemy team. And there he is, northwest corner of the map. He's moving rapidly, but he was just wiped out by the Guerrilla 15. And that's a win. So let's have a look at the end of battle stats. And it's a first class tanker for Fade to Black of Philox in the Conqueror Gun Carriage. He also picked up a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 15, and a Gore's medal for doing more damage than 10 times the hit points of his own vehicle. And lastly, he picked up a Confederate, because despite the fact that he didn't actually get any kills, he certainly did attack a lot of the enemy. And I think he actually attacked 8 of the enemy team. And they were subsequently taken out by his teammates. So if we look at the team scores, we can see that he got the highest amount of damage in the battle, 4,962 hit points altogether. Very satisfying, but no high caliber apparently. For some reason, he just doesn't pick up the high caliber award, and I don't know why that is. Maybe it's maybe it wasn't 20% of the enemy hit pool. But when it came to kills, he was a little further down the table because he didn't actually get any kills whatsoever. Highest number of kills came to the Guerrilla 15 and the Batchat 25 ton. They both got 3 apiece. Highest scorer on the enemy team is also their Batchat, the one that we hit right at the start of the battle. Anyway, let's have a look. We fired 12 shots. Oh, sorry. One thing I didn't check actually was base XP. And in that case, Fade to Black was right at the top of the table with 949 base experience points. Nearly 3 times, well, it is more than 3 times the score of the Batchat on the enemy team, and a good bit more than the Guerrilla 15 on his own team. So let's have a look at detail. Well, he fired 12 rounds, got 4 direct hits, 4 penetration, 12 splash, damage of 4,962 hit points, all at more than 300 meters. He hit 8 of the enemy, more than half the enemy team, and he also didn't get any kills. But he did do damage assistance of 446 hit points and stun assistance of 922 hit points off 16 stuns. On a standard account, he earned 46,005 credits. But after ammunition resupply and consumables, he actually suffered a loss of 3,395 credits because obviously it was the ammunition is rather expensive for this particular Arty. He received 949 base XP, and there was no multipliers, so I'm afraid that's all he took away. But he certainly did a lot of help for his team. And although he didn't pick up the high caliber award, which maybe is a bit of a shame, he certainly got the Gores and the Confederate. And I always say that these medals proved that you were working extremely hard for your team to help them to win. So if you enjoyed this replay, please give it a like and do subscribe to our channel, and hopefully it'll be your replay that I'll be featuring in the next video.